RBT family, what is the deal? It's your dog Willie Jack, and we are back, baby, back with more NFL action. How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? It's the Final Four. All right, it's the Final Four. We are coming down to the very end of this 2024 NFL season. I'm excited. Like I said the same thing last week, man. It's getting bittersweet. It's getting bittersweet as the anticipation builds for the big game. Of course, the two winners of today will be our 2024 Super Bowl contestants, and so it's exciting to see who's gonna finally make it through the end of this tournament, who's gonna make it to the big dance. But then at the same time, it means we're running out of football, man. We're running out of ball. Okay, and so, but yeah, super excited for these games. Can't wait to see how these matchups go. I see a couple of y'all are already in the building early. What's going on? My dude's first one in the chat. I appreciate you. Good morning. Have a blessed show. Shout out to the Big Nation family. We appreciate you. You know, it's still Big Nation business now. Come on now. Appreciate you. My dog Miles in here, hot and ready, man. He firing early, man. He said Chiefs by 12. Ooh, we're going to get into it for sure. And the Commanders upset the Seagulls. Hey, I like where your head's at. 100 pull-ups 100 pull-ups. 100 pull-ups, bruh? Ooh, by 12? You giving 12 points? Hey, for 100 pull-ups, you better be giving 12 points. For 100 pull-ups, you better be giving 12 points. Let me see. Man, who else we got in the building, man? Get 3 Oak. Am I saying that right, bruh? Get 3 Oak. I'm going to call you Get 3 Oak till you say something. Get 3, man. Get 3 said Chiefs by 69, your freak ass. He's a fan. It's too early in the morning. Chiefs by 69. Man, I don't know if the Chiefs have scored 69 points. No, I ain't going 69. Chiefs ain't scored 30 points all year, let alone 69. So you reaching. That's a little bit of a reach. Chiefs ain't touched 30. The Chiefs ain't touched 30. You want them to win by 69. What's Big Josh going to do? I guess Big Josh sitting this one out. Big Josh going to sit this one out. That's what it sounds like, and he better not. But yeah, I'm glad y'all in here fired up, ready to talk. And the rest of y'all, I see y'all in my views, and I don't see all of y'all in my comments, man. Drop something in the chat. Say what's up to your dog, man. Hey, Get 3, bro. I'm assuming you a KC fan. You from Kansas City? Go ahead and talk to your dog, man. I don't think I recognize your name before. I don't recognize your name, Playboy. But while everybody's getting in here comfortable, getting on, you know what I'm saying, settle on in, sit on down, we got a little bit of news to talk about. There's been a couple more hires. Have been announced. Oh, he said, that was preseason ball. Hey, I ain't mad at you. It's 17 weeks of preseason. I ain't mad at that at all. Hey, especially when you a champion. I mean, hey, the Warriors when they was at the peak of they superpowers, they was treating the regular season like the same thing. It was a 17-week preseason. I feel that. I feel that. He said he grew up in PA. So you grew up in Pennsylvania, but you was born a Chiefs fan. Bro, you ain't an Eagles or a Steelers fan? I can see not being a Seagulls fan, but not even the Steelers, bro. You right there in PA. You right there at the home of the realest. And was born a Chiefs fan in Pennsylvania. That's crazy. Hey, well, welcome. Go ahead and sit on down, big dog. They got Chiefs fans being born and bred in Pennsylvania? That's crazy. I wouldn't have thought. Let's talk about some of these hires. I think the least impressive hire, most disappointing hire, and I think this hire, Cowboys promote offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer to head coach. And this really goes to show the fall of the Dallas Cowboys. Because it's not that they've been overly good for a while. And I say that because they're a team that gets held to a championship standard. Whether or not they still should be or whatever, but, you know, it is what it is. But they still get held to a championship standard. Because they've had success, but success in Dallas is similar to success in Pittsburgh. It really only matters if you fighting for the Lombardi. And so, you know, multiple double-digit season wins, 12 season wins, division round appearances, all those good things. They don't go as far or carry as much cachet in Dallas or in Pittsburgh, for that matter, as it does in other places. You know what I mean? Like if you told me your team would win 12 games, 3 out of the last 5 years, make the playoffs, 4 out of the last 5, win a playoff game in 3 of the last 5. If I'm talking about the Browns, this is an all-time run for the Browns. You know what I'm saying? If we talking about shit, the Carolina Panthers, any of those style of teams, like this has been a very successful time to be a fan of that team. But when it's the Dallas Cowboys, nah, man. No, it just doesn't cut it. And so seeing like the prestige that they're still, the prestige and the regard that the Cowboys are still held in, and to see that they weren't anybody's top choice or top priority. They weren't a priority organization for a lot of the top candidates. They didn't even reach out to Ben Johnson, who was the prettiest girl at the party for this last year and a half, 2 years. They didn't reach out to him, but I don't think that's a matter of them not doing their diligence. I think they know they had no shot. Because nobody really wants that job. Nobody who's having their way. Nobody who's having their way wants that Cowboys job. And that really just goes, like, it just really speaks away, man. Like, this was just very, and like, you could tell they were unprepared. They thought they had Mike McCarthy in the bag. Is one of the things that went wrong with this, I guess, pseudo say went wrong. But one of the things I think that tripped them up is they just assumed they just was going to just turn back to Mike McCarthy. You know what I mean? I think they put out a loose little filler to Coach Prime, to Coach Deion Sanders. I don't know how real that was, honestly. But they put out a little filler there, get themselves in the news, get a little buzz going, see if maybe that could stir the hornet's nest, so to say, and maybe get themselves, in the mix or something like that. But I don't know if that really ever had like real legs to it, honestly. But and yeah, I mean, there just wasn't any talk. Like, there was no discussion or mention of the top candidates: Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, the defense coordinator for the Lions as well. So you just never really heard those names. I believe they did speak with Robert Saleh. And honestly, of all the guys that were out there, once Vrabel went back home to New England, like, I'd have tried to zero in on a guy like Saleh. I really like what Saleh did in his time as the D coordinator in San Francisco, and I like what he did with the Jets. I think a lot of things that went wrong with the Jets aren't necessarily on Robert Saleh or a reflection of him as a coach, but I still like what he did, man. I still think he has some nice chops, and I think that's preferable to Brian Schottenheimer, promoting Brian Schottenheimer. But be that as it may, this is where they at, man. So Brian Schottenheimer promotes to head coach, and he's got to feel like the ugly girl at the party who she's just the last one available to dance, man. It's like everybody's already up. It's the last call before the lights come on, and Brian Schottenheimer just still sitting there in the corner of the room. So somebody asked him to dance, man. That's how it feels like. But be that as it may, don't matter how you got there, he's a head coach. It's only 32 of these jobs in the world, and he's got one. So shout out to Brian Schottenheimer. And I'm not gonna lie, man. If you're a Cowboys fan, you probably got to be feeling a little, I don't know, man. You can't be feeling excited about the hire and the outlook for the next season or several. It probably doesn't feel too bright. And so, curious to see what goes on with those Cowboys. Speaking of Robert Saleh and Josh McDaniels, they both go back home. Robert Saleh returns to the place where he made his name. He's going back. He's been announced as the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. So going back home there, I'm assuming, he'll go back home. That team in general is going to have a massive they'll have a reset this offseason after a down year, after several years of competing right there in the mix for a championship. And then, they took a step back this year. Injury had a lot to do with that, but I fully expect this team to reload and recharge and to come back and make a strong push. And I expect this time next year, Robert Saleh is going to have his name announced as somebody's head coach. And then Josh McDaniels, man. Josh McDaniels goes back home to New England to be the offensive coordinator. And so I guess just Vrabel, they're trying to get the old gang back together. So he's going back home as well. Josh McDaniels, for better or worse, I mean, I think he's failed 2 times, spectacularly failed 2 times as a head coach. And so maybe he's just not cut out for that role or that position. And sometimes that's what happens. Sometimes guys are just better doing what they do. Sometimes guys are better suited or just find more success in that coordinator role. And maybe Josh McDaniels, maybe that's what's best for him. And so at his best, he has been a coordinator, and at his best as a coordinator has been in that New England building. Now, success outside of Tommy Boy, success outside of Tom Brady, yet to be seen. We'll see. But be that as it may, Vrabel rounds the old game back together, man, and he's bringing Josh McDaniels back home. So we'll see what J Mac does with young Drake May. So I'm curious to see how that goes as well. We got another one as well, man. The Raiders bring back Pete Carroll into the NFL coaching ranks as he is announced as their next head coach. I'm excited for that, man. I'm excited about this one. This is probably one of my favorite hires. I really like the Ben Johnson hire for Chicago, of course. You got a young, bright, uh, gutsy, dynamic play caller in Ben Johnson, pairing him up with a young, very dynamic, you know, a very young and dynamic and very talented Caleb Williams, and just some young pieces there. So I like that pairing a lot as well. But I like Pete Carroll. I like Pete Carroll being in the NFL, and I like I said, just something about his energy, just the way he attacks, just life in general, man. So I like having Pete around, and Pete ain't no spring chicken now. I think Pete's on the plus side of 70, and you probably wouldn't think if you're being around him or you see him you probably think he's closer to 60 than 70, but he's on the plus side of 70, man, and he still has just as much vigor as anybody half his age. And so I'm excited to see what he does for that Raiders organization. And honestly, I am a Steelers fan. Y'all know what's going on. I'm wondering if Russell finds his way out there to Las Vegas, man. I'm wondering if we get some type of reunion. I know there's been talks that maybe Russell and the Steelers have kind of broken the ice on some potential contract negotiations or discussions to see what's there. And I don't know if it's me just assuming or maybe me hoping this is the case, but I think this may be more about the Steelers just kind of doing their due diligence, just what I'm saying, just checking the temperature, seeing what that number is. But I'm thinking that more likely Russ came in there. It was up and down. I think when we made the move to Russ, it was the right move to make at that time. I was firmly on that boat. But then honestly, like what went up came right back down and it leveled out. But then at that point, we're nearing the playoffs and it's too late to make another change. You know what I mean? And still, yeah. So it's I was conflicted there, but I appreciate Russ what he did for the time with us. But I if we are gonna move forward and it's not gonna be through the draft, go ahead and give Justin the full year and let's see what we can get done. And if that's the case, I would think that Russ probably winds up in Las Vegas because Las Vegas is right there on the bubble. They may miss out on the two top of the first round, like draft eligible quarterbacks in Cam Ward and Shadur Sanders, of course. So I think Raiders are picking like 6. And I think it's hard to imagine those guys get outside the top 4. I think I think the Giants have the 4th pick. And either of those guys, if they were to fall, they're not going to make it past the Giants, in my estimation. And so I think the Raiders may get left out when it's all said and done. So a move to Russell, being familiar with Pete, that may be what's in the works. Last but not least, I don't know if y'all been following the story of this Jaguars hire. Liam Cohen has been the offensive coordinator with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now for these last few seasons, and so I guess this one was a tricky situation. He interviewed with the Jags. I guess he was the guy. There was some type of dispute or disagreement. I don't know if it was going to be. I don't know if Trent Baalke, the GM of the Jaguars, was the holdup because he was let go. Like while this was all unfolding, and honestly, a guy that probably a lot of people would tell you they probably wanted him let go a while ago. So maybe people are speculating maybe Trent Baalke still being in the building as GM was a hard line. And then also, I don't know if it was the money or some contract details, but a deal falls through with the Jaguars. He goes back to the Bucks. The Bucks drop a contract to make him either the highest or one of the very highest paid offensive coordinators in the league. You know what I mean? He's got a little motion, so they're gonna cash him out. And then I guess the night before he's supposed to meet with the Bucks that next morning to sign his new and improved deal, so he gets a nice hefty pay chunk. Well, he goes MIA. He leaves. Nobody knows where he's at. They're calling all his phones, no answer. He to put him on D&D. I guess he flies back to Jacksonville, and then they end up hammering out the deal in Jacksonville. So it was two teams that kind of feel like they kind of got the emotions played with. In the end, he does end up signing with the Jaguars as their head coach. And so if you don't know, and I'm sure most of us do, we grown. Jacksonville and Tampa Bay they're not too far away from each other. And now they're not they're in different conferences as well, one AFC and one NFC. But I'm curious to see. I wouldn't be surprised. The NFL has a funny way of making sure these kind of funny coincidences happen. I would imagine the Jaguars and Bucks are going to play each other this upcoming season because there's a little bad blood there, at least in the front offices of these buildings. I guess, in or around the hiring and how Liam Cohen handled this, I guess, situation, deciding to go ahead and leave the Bucks for the Jaguars. And so I would imagine these two teams probably meet each other, and it's just just interesting that the NFL doesn't miss the opportunity to kind of get those things going. Let me see. Oh, hey, got three, got something from. Oh, wait. I thought that was a three. Is that a three? Get three oak. Man, you have to let me know how to say your name, big dog. I'm gonna call you got three for right now. He said his dad picked him when he was a kid, and there was like 10 teams. Oh, so you OG Chiefs fans. Oh, so y'all go back to Hank Stram. Your pops was matriculating the ball down the field. Y'all with them Chiefs. Okay, now I respect you. Now I respect the got three oak. Got 3-0, get 3-0. G3, that's you G3. Y'all say what's up to G3 in the chat. Y'all say what's up to G3 in the chat. Tap in. I hope you hit that like button and that subscribe button because you one of the members now. Get G3. G3, I respect your pimping, bro, because I'm going to tell you, I done met more Chiefs fans. There's never been as many Chiefs fans in the last 6 years of the NFL's history than before that time period. There's been more Chiefs fans birthed in these last 6 years than ever before. I've met Chiefs fans that don't know who Trent Green is. They don't know who Priest Holmes is. There's Chiefs fans out there never heard of Dwayne Bowe. But I'm glad that's not you, G3. I'm glad that's not you. You sound like you one of them real ones, man. You sound like you one of them real ones. So I respect it. Y'all say what's up to G3, man. That's a real Chiefs fan right there. I respect it. Hey, there you go. That's what I want to hear. You done been through them trenches. The Chiefs didn't even win a playoff game till he was 24. Come on, man. He said he deserved his 3-peat. I don't necessarily want to see you 3-peat. But I respect the hustle, though, boy. And he said he'd been through them ugly days, man. We done glowed up. He deserved this glow up. Shout out to G3, man. Shout out to G3. See, now, yeah, I can respect that. Yeah, man. Hey, exactly. He's not, he didn't came up, man. I wouldn't tell nobody my name is Brian either. Because you go somewhere, tell somebody your name is Brian Schottenheimer, you're going to get a who? You go in there, you announce yourself, I'm the head coach of the Cowboys. They're going to open all the doors for you, at least in Dallas. Hey, I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. Miles says, yeah, that's Marty Schottenheimer's son. That's Marty Schottenheimer's son. Hey, speaking of Chiefs lineage, G3, I meet Chiefs fans that don't know who Marty Schottenheimer is. Yeah, shout out to my dog Miles, man. He's another Kansas City affiliate. Yeah, he know who Marty is. Yeah, that's Marty Schottenheimer's son. Yeah. Sis in the building. What's up? Hey, sis, man, say what's up to G3 in the chat. We got one of them members in the building this morning. Yes, yeah. And we talked about that on the show as well, like maybe like 2 weeks ago. Like, man, it take hell and high water. If I'm Spags, it take hell and high water to get me to leave Kansas City. Where I want to go anywhere. I'm getting cashed out. He's getting top of the line market as far as coordinator is concerned. And he's whatever the top money is at the coordinator, I think he's getting a nice bump on that too. I believe he's the highest paid coordinator in the league. His defense has been just as important or just as vital or more important and more vital to this team's successful championship run than the offense. Like Andy and Patty and Travis Kelce, they get all the pub, but they not carrying this team. This is Spags' team. This is Spags' defense that leads this team. You know what I mean? And it has been for the last 3 years. So, yeah, Spags, man, I wouldn't be going nowhere either if I'm Spags, man. You're going to have to throw the kitchen sink and some before I do, and definitely not before I had a chance to make this 3-peat. They went 15-1 on the back of Spags. Spags and that defense and the special teams took that team to 15-1 with Patty making two Patty plays a day to get him over the hump. But I feel you, bro. Spags ain't got a reason to go nowhere. Miles said Pete gonna do well. I think so as well, man. Pete's one of those guys that, like, his energy, his charisma, his demeanor, it has a shelf life, and I think that's what happened in Seattle. If you listen to the things that players said then, like, especially when it's a young team coming from college, that's when I think Pete Carroll is at his best. And if we look at that Seahawks tenure, all those guys came in fresh. Like Earl Thomas, Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, Russell Wilson, like all these guys, Bobby Wagner, you know what I'm saying? all those guys were drafted within like a 2-year period, and they all came in right there fresh with Pete Carroll. And so like they got raised up like in that USC vibe that he brings. You know what I'm saying? That high upbeat energy. You know what I'm saying? Every day's a party at practice. You know what I'm saying? That plays well, especially with a younger crowd or younger generation. And then, because like once you get a little older, when you in year 8, you know what I'm saying? When you in year 8, you got 7 kids, 4 baby mamas, you got 3 houses, you know what I'm saying? You got 2 mortgages, you know what I'm saying? You got real bills and responsibilities. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Pete bouncing in your face every morning at 5 o'clock before you had your coffee. It don't play the same. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I think guys kind of felt that, they just kind of, it got a little stale. But now Pete going to Las Vegas, Tom Brady, of course, being in ownership. I think they changed out the GM there as well with the Raiders, if I'm not mistaken. And so this is a team that we've seen Pete with what he was able to do with John Snyder in Seattle, but if he brings that same energy and ability to rebuild that organization like from the ground up, going in this draft and really hitting and finding guys that fit what he wants to do, then yeah, man, I think Pete's gonna do well as well, man. I think he's gonna do well also. Miles said he's already gonna put him second in the AFC West. You already gonna let him jump the Chargers and Jimmy Harbaugh? Jimmy Harbaugh went out there, tore half the roster down, and took Justin Herbert. You know what I'm saying, to the playoffs. They got smoked. But you know what I'm saying? Look what Jimmy Harbaugh did in year 1, man. So I don't know if I'm gonna put Pete right at the top, already above Jimmy Harbs. And also Pete still gotta find a quarterback. Pete gotta find a quarterback and a running back and a receiver 1. Devontae ain't in that building no more. So they got a lot of work to do with that Raiders roster for real. They need a quarterback, they need a running back, they need a wide receiver 1, and they need 2 more pieces on that offensive line. That offense is in trouble. And then to make it so bad on the defense, they got a couple big names, but they need a lot of work on that defense as well. You got Max Crosby, he was injured and beat up this year. You signed Christian Wilkins from the Dolphins, but he was injured and beat up this year as well. But those are 2 solid pieces on the front line. I really like Robert Spillane at the linebacker. He spent a lot of time with my Steelers. You know what I'm saying? We let him get out the building, and he's made a name for himself in Las Vegas. So I like what he's got going there. A little limited in pass protection, or pass coverage, excuse me. But I do like him as a nice old school B-gap thumper. You know what I mean? And so I like Robert Spillane. They let Amik Robertson get out that building. He's showed himself well with the Lions in the time he was there. So they still got a lot of holes on that Raiders. Yeah, that roster's in trouble. Man, I just talked through all of that. That roster's in trouble, bro. Yeah, they did hire a new GM. I just remember Tom brought over the assistant GM from the Bucks to now be the head GM with the Raiders. And so, yeah, I think him and Pete are going to really, dive into this draft, man. And I expect this to be a methodical grind, man. I think they're going to really build this team up, and maybe not this first year, but this second going into third year is maybe where we see them really kind of poised to be a contender in that division at least. Hey, hey, go ahead and bring it back to the SC West. Let's ride. Hey, man, somebody, I'm gonna say this in jest because I don't want to hate on nobody making money to provide for their family. But whoever came up with that "Let's Ride" slogan, that "Let's Ride" campaign, boy, I hope they got you out that building. You don't need input on any other marketing. Whoever came up with that "Let's Ride" slogan campaign for Russell Wilson, you need your ass beat for one. And they probably need to hand you your walking papers, big dog. Let's ride. Come on. Come on, man. Hey, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. G3 said they should have stuck with Fields. See, I'm not going to lie, man. Fields, I'm not, at the time we made the move, Fields was almost hindering the offense at that point. Like, he had a couple blimps, a couple like flashes of like, okay, hey, if we can bring this out, then yeah, man, we got something. But then I think he played tight, man. That's what I think what it was. I think he played tight. Ass was tight, man. He played tight. He wasn't loose. He wasn't comfortable. And I think because he was aware that when Russ is deemed ready, that Russ is gonna get this job. And the biggest thing for him was just not messing this thing up. And so it didn't look like a guy who played just loose and free and was just able to go out there and just be his best self. It felt like he was, you know what I'm saying? It felt like he was playing with with his pops on his shoulder. You know what I mean? And so when we made the move, I agreed with it, and it paid dividends. You know what I mean? Russ is what first? No, Russ's second game as the starter. We go to Cincinnati. We put 45 points on Joe Burrow. Russ outgunned Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. You know what I mean? So like it paid dividends, but then it fell right back down to the earth. You know what I'm saying? What went up came right back down. And when it came down hard. You know what I mean? And so I think it was the right move at the time. But yeah, going forward, I definitely think, like I said, without any other real options available, go ahead, go all in with Justin Fields for better or for worse. Let him rock out, see what he can get done. Best case, you know what I'm saying? We get back to the playoffs, we win a playoff game. You know what I'm saying? And worst case, my Steelers haven't had a hard reset in 20 years since we were able to draft Ben Roethlisberger. And when we did that, we weren't even in the top 10. We drafted him at pick 11. We just don't do that in Pittsburgh, man. There's no 4-win seasons in Pittsburgh to get a top 3 pick, man. So that ain't what we do. But you know what I'm saying? Give Justin Fields this season for better, for worse. If it crumbles, and it is, you know what I'm saying? If we are able to get a pick that's a little higher up in next year's quarterback draft is thought to be, is going to be heads and tails better than this one as far as depth is concerned, then maybe we hit that reset button next year. But for better or for worse, I do want to see Fields get this year because I don't think we're going to have another option. I don't want to cash out Sam Darnold. I don't want no parts of Kirk Cousins. I'm not excited to bring Russ back. You know what I'm saying? I don't want A.A. Ryan. I don't want Aaron Rodgers. I don't want those problems in our building. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I think the pickings are slim. And so, looking at what's really out there realistically, I would much rather bring back Justin. Be another 9-8 season? Yeah. I mean, maybe. You know what I mean? Maybe. We'll see. Hey, I appreciate you. Keandre, boy, where you at, man? All right? This 2 no call, no shows, Keandre. My dog Keandre, man, where you at, man? See, my dog Keandre would have been on point, man. We 30 minutes in. I'd had these comments up 20 minutes ago. Somebody get a hold of my dog Keandre, tell him he missed work, man. We've been looking for him. Tell him the factory, the production's going down. Because you know what I'm saying? The foreman, he didn't call in. Oh, get woke. Got you. The 3 is a sideways W. I got you. Get woke. Because you was finna be G3. I ain't gonna lie, bro. G3 got a little ring to it now if you want to run with it. You know what I'm saying? If you want to run with it, I call you G3. You want to. But get woke, man. Shout out to my dog, Get Woke, man. He one of them members, man. Somebody say what's up to get woke in the chat. You one of them members now, man. He said G3 is fine. Hey, there you go, big boy. Hey, there you go, playboy. Don't feel bad, man. Everybody in here, if I can't say your name or read your name clearly, man, you just end up getting a nickname. It's all good. G3 in the building, man. Y'all say what's up to Get Woke in the chat. Hey, J Pat, man, what's going on, man? My old school, mate. What's going on, big dog? What's going on? He said, say it. What we talking about? Hey, Get Woke said, don't y'all get him confused, man. He still got his LJ jersey in his closet. There we go. That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, Jerry said his name's not Brian anymore. Hey, he did. Now that you say that, I do remember hearing that. Yeah. Yeah, Jerry kind of like backhanded compliment him. I know everybody says he's just a backup coach or he's just a coordinator, but not anymore. Now he's the Cowboys head coach. Yeah, all right. Thanks, Jerry. Sit your ass down, man. Sit your ass down. Mom Dude said she's pulling for the Bills today. Oh, yeah, we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it for sure. Sister say, hey, what's up, G3? Welcome to the fan. Hey, he one of them members now. Sis said she's either pulling for Buffalo. Okay. Okay, they work for KC now. Let's go. Hey, no, exactly. Hey, that's exactly what I was getting at. G3. Worst case scenario, if Fields gets it and just bungles it, you know what I'm saying? If Fields gets it and just shits the bed, excuse me, I got me cussing this. It's too early on Sunday morning. If Fields gets it and pisses the bed, then if the worst thing to come out of that is we do get one of them top picks, we get baby Peyton, we get Peyton nephew, we get baby Archie. Hey, man, hey, y'all better be careful, boy. Y'all better be careful what y'all want. Y'all better be careful what y'all wish for. Y'all been complaining about these winning seasons. Let us go ahead and lose one and leave the draft with baby Arch. Boy, y'all in trouble. Hey, man, you one of them members now, big dog. We got you, man. You one of them members, dog. You one of them members now. Hey, Miles. Hey, man. She just respect the real, man. She know real ball when she see it, man. Big Josh one of them guys, dog. Big Josh one of them guys. For sure, man. Hey, I'm glad y'all all lathered up, ready to talk a little ball. We're gonna get into it, man. And actually, we're gonna talk the NFC game first, man. The NFC game is the first one up. That's the 2:00 game, and that Kansas City Buffalo game is the 5:00 game. So we'll knock this out for sure. Man, hey, NFC Championship, Washington on the road at Philly. I'm going Philly. If I had to put my mama's rent money on this game, then I'd have to take Philly. I'd have to put the money on Philly. But I'm pulling for Washington to win. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pulling for Washington to win. I want to see Jaden Daniels go to the big dance. So really love what he's done this season. Fantastic season. He started like a bat out of hell. Those first 6-7 weeks, set an NFL record, and all that good stuff. We know the accolades. We know the tear that they were on. That those first 7 weeks, middle point of the season, man, was a little rough for Jaden Daniels. Let's say if we broke their season into 3 parts, first part of the season on fire, that middle part, they took a lot of L's, took a lot of hard L's. They got the lip bust a little bit. You know what I mean? They got kind of brought back down. But then that home stretch of the season, teed right back up. Turned right back up, man, and really made a push. They got a big win on the road, week 1 against Tampa Bay. Man, shout out to my dog, Big Baker Mayfield, man. I hate you had to go out like that, big dog, with that fumble. But they get that win there. And then probably the greatest upset of the playoffs, Washington going on the road and beating Detroit in Detroit. That's fantastic. A rookie quarterback went to that building and left with a dub. Now, he didn't do all the heavy lifting, all right? Jared Goff definitely turned into a pumpkin in that game, man. Jared Goff been a princess for the last 2-3 seasons. He turned back to a pumpkin, man. He did. 5 turnovers is inexcusable for a championship caliber team playing at home, coming off of a bye week where you rested, you've been beat up all year. You can't go out there and turn the ball over 5 times, man. Now, Jared Goff, I think, responsible for 4 of those because they threw in a J-Mo interception just for shits and giggles. Just for kicks and giggles. They let J-Mo throw an interception as well. But yeah, no, but that's inexcusable, man. So I hated to see that for Detroit. I wanted Detroit to go to the big dance, man. I wanted Detroit. It felt like this was their year, man. I wanted Detroit to go to the big dance. But unfortunately, they don't. Washington goes out there and they get a very impressive W. And not to take away any credit from Jaden Daniels, because if y'all remember when they took the ball over, because Detroit didn't lay down. And I wouldn't expect it to, being a Dan Campbell coach team. We know what they mantra is. Dan Campbell came in the door and told y'all we're gonna bite kneecaps if we get knocked down. So they didn't quit. They fought and came back. You know, they kept threatening a comeback in that game. But the thing that kept that game out of reach is that every time Detroit turned the ball over, Jaden Daniels went and got 7 points. That was the key. If he gets 3s instead of 7s, maybe Detroit finds a way to get back in that game. Maybe Detroit finds a way to win that game. But nah. Jaden said, you're going to give me the ball, I'm going to give you 7. Give me the ball, and I'm going to give you 7. And so that's a kudos and a credit to Jaden Daniels. Kudos and credit to that Washington offense, that Washington team as a whole, on both sides, man, taking the ball away. And then the offense paying the defense back, man. For when the defense give you the ball, you owe them a touchdown. Facts. If we go get you the ball, give us a touchdown, man. And, hey, in a fair trade, ain't no robbery. Because Washington went and got the ball. Offense gave a touchdown. Defense said, shit. You ain't saying nothing but a word. Let's go get 3-4 more. And what did Washington do? They turned them into 7. And so it was an excellent job by that team. Shout out to Dan Quinn as well. Dan Quinn, here's another thing as well. We were talking about that Cowboys job. Just how crappy does Jerry and Steven and just that organization have to feel behind the scenes, knowing we had Dan Quinn in this building. He was kind of thought to be the next guy in line should it fall through with McCarthy anyway. And then the McCarthy thing's already kind of a little rocky. You hold on to him for 1 extra year. Dan Campbell goes to Washington in your division. And before he got there, before they drafted Jaden Daniels, a lot of us would have probably said Washington. No, we'd have probably still said the Giants were the worst team, worst roster in that division. But Washington and the Commanders rosters were probably going to be negligible. They were both terrible. And so then to see them rally, finish above you in division, go to the playoffs with a rookie, and get 2 2 playoff victories. Like, man, that's crazy. So shout out to Dan Quinn as well, man. So everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. Hey, man, man, look, there he is. Hey, he said, working like his name is Django. Hey, boy, we miss you, boy. I'm telling you, man, these comments been late as hell. Every time finally somebody remind me about the comments, I be like, damn, where the hell Keandre at, man? Hey, my dog said, hey, that's a hard-working man. I appreciate it, big dog. I'm glad you back. We glad you back. We about to talk about your Chiefs here in a minute. And matter of fact, man, I did all that talking about the Commanders and what they should do and what they won't do. And we didn't really talk about the game, but if I had to put my mama's rent money on the game, I'm taking Philly. Philly at home, 27-23. Philly, they really spanked the Commanders that first game. And then the second game, they was in the process of spanking that ass again. But if we remember, they were up 2 touchdowns. I think Saquon had 110 yards in the first quarter. They're up 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts goes down with a concussion. And then Washington claws back and wins that second game. And so the way I read that is for 5 quarters with healthy Jalen Hurts, they dominated. You know what I'm saying? And so, then 3 quarters without Jalen Hurts, Washington found a way to come back and win that game. Well, this is the case now. Now you're in the playoffs. Now you're going to Philly to their building. And Jalen Hurts, he's still a little injured and banged up, but he's going to be on the field, though. He left the game last time. Y'all found a way to come back and get it done, but he's going to be playing. Now, what's concerning, I guess, is his anticipated limited mobility. He got rolled up pretty good in that last week's game against the Rams, and in that game he was hobbled, and it showed. And honestly, it showed to the point like it was almost a detriment. Like the Rams clawed back in that game, and shit, they was 2 plays from tying that game up and winning. That was a 6-point game. They found a way to get that last touchdown down there in the red area. And then a touchdown and an extra point, they found a way to steal that game. And so, how healthy is Jalen Hurts is definitely going to be a question in this game. But no, I'm still, like I said, man. If I had to put the church's money on the table, man, I'm gonna go ahead and go with Philly. But I'm pulling for Washington. I won't lie about that at all, man. This would be a happy upset for me. Like I said, if Washington finds a way to get this done. So, Miles said Philly defense is not what people think. They do a lot of base D. With a multiple threat team like the Commanders, it's not gonna work. Well, no, that's fair because Vic Fangio, he definitely wants to keep the roof on the building. So Vic Fangio loves quarters defenses. But I don't want to say, I don't know when you say they're not what people think they are because they got studs, man. Jalen Carter's a guy. Jalen Carter is a real dude, man. Zach Bond is in contention for Defensive Player of the Year. Had an All-Pro in his first year transitioning into this Vic Fangio defense and playing full-time stack backer. And shit, he's All-Pro. He's a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. And then the 2 rookies they got in that secondary balling. Quinyon Mitchell is going to be a guy. And Cooper DeJean playing his ass off too. And then that's still to go. You got the OG Darius Slay, and Darius Slay still getting his hand on a couple interceptions here every now and again. You know what I mean? So Darius Slay still doing enough to be a force. Chauncey Gardner Johnson, CGJ, whatever we're gonna call him. You know what I'm saying? He's still the nice kind of wild card in that secondary as well. They'll kind of move him around, and he's part-time thumper, part-time. You know what I'm saying? He's just the energy guy on that defense, I feel like. So they got real solid pieces at every level of that defense. And then we talked about Jalen Carter on that front line, but Nolan Smith getting after the quarterback as well. I loved him coming out of Georgia. The fact that the Eagles found a way to get Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith in the same draft. Jalen Carter should have been the number 1 pick to the Bears in that draft. They let them fall to 9 to Philly, and then Nolan Smith was the first runner all day long in my book as well, and they get him with pick 32. What the hell's going on? Quinyon Mitchell falls to Philly in the 20s. Cooper DeJean falls to them in the second round in the late 30s or even the early 40s. What the hell's going on? What does Howie Roseman have on the rest of the league where they keep letting stuff like that happen? So now they got real guys on that defense now. So they got real guys. They got real guys out there, man. I don't know. Because don't forget, like, they've seen this Commanders team twice. They spanked that ass that first time. That first time, they put paws on them. So it ain't like the Commanders, this is new. This ain't new money. You know what I mean? Like, the Commanders already went out there and got their head cracked. And they was in the process of getting their head beat in again that second time before Jalen got that concussion. So you got to be easy now. Don't overlook them. Don't overlook them. Jaden reminds me of Mahomes the way he wins. I'm gonna think about that. Hmm. Hmm. This iteration of Mahomes, I'd say no, because it's much more. No, man, I don't know. I still think like Jaden, he's mobile, but I don't feel like it's as much improvisation as it is with Mahomes. Mahomes is out there like it just feels like everything they do with Mahomes is on the fly. You know what I mean? It really feels like I mean, yeah, Andy's calling plays, but it feels like 60% of it is just Patty's gonna run around, he's gonna buy time, and Travis Kelce, them old ass legs, they're gonna find a way to sit right in the middle of the zone where nobody's at. And you know what I'm saying? Like, in that, it kind of feels more like that. I think Jaden in that offense, and shout out to man, who's the coordinator there? He was the coach of the Cardinals, and I can't think of his name. Damn. He was the coach at Texas Tech for those years. He went and coached Kyler with the Cardinals, and now he's the offensive coordinator for the Commanders. I can't think of his name. I'm blanking out right now. But kudos to him for one for and Dan Quinn for making that hire because it feel like his people were excited about him when he first got to the Cardinals, but no, he had kind of fizzled out, and so him going to Washington now working with Jaden Daniels, and this is it. This offense looks fantastic, but it does look like he's operating at a high level inside of that structure or that offense and what they're asking him to do more so than like the improvisation that we see from Mahomes. That's what I was trying to say. That's what I was trying to say. I say young Mahomes. Okay, yeah, because young Mahomes, it was a much more vertical offense. Well, you had Cheetah there as well. So with Tyreek Hill was there, it definitely was much more of a vertical offense. And that's another thing I was going to mention as well with Jaden Daniels is they do have that vertical element with Scary Terry. Scary Terry, you know what I'm saying, catching deep shots downtown. I love Scary Terry, man. So Scary Terry is definitely a viable deep threat. Excellent ball tracking, excellent hands at the catch point, as a contested catch artist as well. Scary Terry is for the longest he was very underappreciated, and then now he's got cashed out and everybody knows his name. And at times maybe people have started thinking now maybe now he's getting a little over appreciated. But be that as it may, man, I like Mr. Scary Terry. And De'Ami Brown is the real surprise and guy who's really turned it up over this last month and a half of football on the outside as well. And he's a big body speed guy as well. So yeah, it's much more of a vertical offense with Jaden Daniels as well. And so yeah, I can see what you're going for if you're going young Mahomes and like really kind of pushing the ball upfield and make you keep you off balance with his legs. Jaden's a much better, I think, athlete, just pure athleticism, or maybe just pure speed wise, because Patty's shifty. He really is. Patty may be shiftier than Jaden, honestly. I don't know if Jaden's really got wiggle, but straight line quickness and maybe just pure open field speed, y'all give the edge to the kid. Hey man, don't listen to Miles, man. Don't listen to Miles, man. I was gonna say something, but it's Sunday and my mama watching, so you got lucky, Miles. You got lucky. I was gonna let you know how I really felt. Hey, G3 said, "Hey, this is my mom's house. What you talking about, boy? Hey, it's hard to argue. It's hard to argue, man. He said the earth is Mahomes' turf. Boy, what you mean, man? Yeah, man, I can't think of his damn name, dog. The coordinator from the Card, he was the coach of the Cardinals. What's his freaking? It's gonna bother me now. Uh, See, now it's gonna bother me, G3. Somebody help me in the chat, dog. Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury. There you go. Shout out to G3, man. Cliff Kingsbury. Thank you, dog. Man. Dog, that was really gonna bother me, man. I was gonna have the research department had to look it up. Cliff Kingsbury. Yeah, so yeah, he's got something going, man. They cooking with grease. They cooking with gas. You know what I'm saying? With Jaden in that offense. And honestly, seeing Jaden in this offense and how it's thriving, it makes me wonder, well, was the problem Cliff Kingsbury in Arizona? Or was the problem Kyler Murray? I don't know now. You know what I mean? Now I don't know. Because Jaden's in this offense and shit, he's getting away from the Super Bowl. So, hey, man, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, man. Mahomes is that like unathletic guy at your local YMCA. But you know what I'm saying? He's out there with a headband on and probably looks a little funky when you playing pickup. And he gets picked last, but he goes out there and drops 30 in your rec league. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Patty Mahomes is Will Ferrell at a rec league dropping 30. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's Patty. And you look at him like, no, it's Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler, who? Y'all see clips of Adam Sandler? He out there in 4X tall tees like it's 0405. I ain't mad at him. I ain't mad at him at all. But he out there looking crazy. But he out there diming boys up and giving boys real buckets. That's Patty at the rec league, man. That's how Patty looks on the field when he gets in open field. Because he's not moving fast, but can't nobody catch him. They can't tackle him. And then even if you try to tackle him and miss, it's a 15-yard penalty anyway, man. What can you do? What can you do? Shout out to Patty. He said, hey, it's Tay-Tay's house. Hey, man, don't start that. Hey, man, y'all leave Mr. Swift alone, man. They done turned Travis into Mr. Swift. That's crazy, man. How they do my dog TK like that, man? Shout out to Mr. Swift and the Swifties. Moving on, man. Let's talk about the game of the hour, man. Buffalo on the road. Buffalo on the road against Kansas City. Let me fix that. Kansas City is, of course, the number 1 seed. My bad. Before y'all have a heart attack. I'm going Buffalo, man. I'm going Big Josh. I'm going Big Josh in the win. I'm not even going to call it upset. Big Josh, I think, going that building and gets it done 24-20. 24-20, Big Josh on the road. Now, the Bills, of course, the only team to beat Kansas City this year, that game was in Buffalo. And yes, I know, before y'all try to remind me, I know that the Broncos, that the Chiefs lost to the Broncos. They set that game out. All right. It was more important than going 16-1 was making sure Joe Burrow didn't make the playoffs. So I respect it. Hey man, the Chiefs are playing 3D chess and the rest of y'all playing tic-tac-toe. All right? I ain't mad at that at all. I'm not gonna beat the Broncos, get the Bengals in the playoffs, and then have the Bengals play me in the divisional. I ain't mad at what they doing, man. It's 3D chess. That's why Andy's Andy. He sees all the angles, so I ain't mad at it. But I am going with Buffalo, man. Buffalo and Big Josh. Buffalo and Big Josh getting this win against the Ravens this last week without Big Josh having to do much of the heavy lifting. That was a definitive team win. They did get a couple turnovers, and like I said, that defense had a nice mix of bend without fully breaking. There were a couple points where it looked like maybe that Buffalo Bills defense may be overwhelmed. Ravens got the ball, went right down the field and put it in for 7. So I'm like, oh damn. Hey, man, this might get a little rough. It might get a little ugly. But the Ravens did have a couple stumbles along the way. The Buffalo Bills did just enough to capitalize. And the thing I like the best about it is, like I said, Big Josh, it wasn't all on Big Josh's shoulders. It was a very measured and evenly distributed offense. Josh Allen only had 22 pass attempts. I think it was 22 pass attempts to 24 rushing attempts for that game as far as the offensive distribution. And they really controlled the pace of that game. Big Josh was able to cash it, punch in a couple sevens. He only had 10 rushing yards for 2 touchdowns. And so it was a very measured attack and getting that win at home against the Ravens. And so now this is a game on the road with Big Josh, I think, having a relatively, I'm not going to say easy because I'm not saying that, but just the fact that he didn't have to turn into Superman last week, I think now he's fully charged up for this Kansas City game. So if Patty and these Chiefs try to get out of line, Big Josh going to put that cape on. You know what I mean? And I think he's going to be charged up and juiced up and have it in him to do it because he's coming in with relatively fresh legs. I want to say just off of what he had to do in last week's game. And so I think that bodes well for Buffalo, maybe not so much for Kansas City. Kansas City been living by the skin of their teeth all year long. This is a 15-2 team. We've talked about it on the show. This is a 15-2 team. Ball bounces the other way. Cookie crumbles a little different. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? The wind blows 1 degree to the left instead of 1 degree to the right. Who knows? This 15-2 Chiefs team very well could be 11-6. You know what I'm saying? This Chiefs team is 5 plays away from being 11-6. You know what I mean? 10-7. Who knows? But you are who you are. You're 15-2. But I think this might be the year that Big Josh and those Bills finally get it. Miles said Jaden's more of Kaepernick. No, I don't see that comparison because I think he's far and away a better passer than Kaepernick. Now Kaepernick gets a rough shake because I think we maybe overplay his lack of passing, and I don't even want to say lack of passing. I think Jaden's a more talented passer for sure, and I think I don't like the Kaepernick comparison. I don't. The Mahomes comparison for me doesn't fully fit either, but I don't like the Kaepernick comparison either. Now we're gonna come back to that, y'all. G3 and Miles, we're gonna come back to that, man. We're gonna really hammer in, like close in on a good game style comparison for Jaden Daniels. For sure. Miles said he's going 34-22. I'm assuming Chiefs. I'm assuming he's talking about the Chiefs. Hey, you ain't lied. You ain't lied, bro. Hey, you ain't lied. Miles said he's going 34-22. Keandre, give me your score, though. Give me your score. He said they would have rested regardless. Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, and that's the truth about it. The number one seed was locked up, so there's just no advantage to. There's just nothing to be gained for winning that game. And honestly, I'm not mad at it because win it for what? We're the number one seed, and do we want to strengthen the field? So I'm not mad at it at all. I'm not mad at it at all. But it is always fun to throw a couple jabs at the guys at the top. For sure. Chanel and Bolton keep Josh in pocket. Shit. Leo Chanel. Hey, I like Leo Chanel. Hey, Keandre, man. Keandre said I don't give some of the guys on that Chiefs defense enough credit. Leo Chanel is one of my favorite young linebackers, man. But like Bolton's cool too. Bolton's cool. Bolton's solid. And Bolton went to Mizzou, man. MIZ, baby. You know what I'm saying? So I support Bolton as well. I really like Leo Chanel, man. I do. He's like 6'4", 250. He's half edge, half linebacker. You know what I mean? That tickles my heartstrings a little bit. You know what I mean? I was a guy that dabbled in both myself once upon a time. You know what I mean? And I like him, man. I really like Leo Chanel. And then Bolton, I like Bolton as well. I do. Hey, look, now everybody making friends. Hey, man, it's your time now, man. It's your time in the sun. I respect it. I respect it. Hey, that's what they say, man. That's what they say. They say if your auntie had a tally worker, she'd have been your uncle. So I feel you. Hey, look, oh yeah, now look at this. Yeah. Y'all sit y'all ass down. I want to see how y'all feel about 8 o'clock tonight when Big Josh doing the Dougie in the Arrowhead Stadium, man. When Big Josh Thiz in the end zone, y'all gonna lose y'all mind. Wait till Big Josh Thiz in the end zone. Y'all gonna go crazy. Boy, look. Oh, man. Y'all gotta imagine. Oh, man. He said if y'all was undefeated and rested, you'd agree. Yeah, and honestly, yeah. And then also, that's the thing about it as well, especially when you're a team that's already been a champion. I don't even know how valuable that undefeated tag is, honestly. Not when you got real, like, you know what I'm saying? Because like undefeated, like what did undefeated mean for that Patriots team? Because we don't talk about that Patriots team as the greatest single team in NFL history. We don't mention that. We don't like. It feels like that Patriots team, it just kind of gets swept under the rug. I'm talking about that 15-1 Patriots team that ended up losing that 16-0 Patriots team that lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl. And like, how much do we really remember that regular season undefeated? Like, it only matters if you win the big one. And so I'm not mad if they'd have sat either way. Like, as long as the one seed was locked up, it made sense to sit. Like, if we, having a serious conversation about it. I like poking fun and having it teasing the Chiefs. Y'all need to be humbled a little bit. But honestly, unless the number one seed was still in question, it made sense to sit down. It really did. So I ain't mad at it at all. My dog Keandre said he's going Chiefs 28-21. Boy, y'all have scored 28 points one time this year. Y'all have scored 28 points once. That might be that's a tall order. That's a lot of points. It's a lot of points for y'all. Y'all have scored 28 points one time all season, I believe. He said, yeah, they both dogs. Yeah, I like them, man. That's a nice young group, man. Chanel and Bolton. That is a nice young group. Y'all, like I said, they've got a lot of solid pieces up and down that defense as well. I know we talked about the Eagles defense, but they've got players. Like Chris Jones is definitely the gas in that tank for sure. And then shout out to my dog Keandre. George Karlaftis had a hell of a playoff run. He's a very solid Robin, man. He's a very solid Robin. He played his ass off against the Texans. CJ Stroud held the ball a little long on some of those. You know what I mean? He probably took a couple that he shouldn't have. I think y'all had 8 or 9 sacks that game. And like I said, some of those are on CJ just as much as they are on that offensive line. But hey, man, he had a 3-sack day, and I think he did it in the second half of that game. So Karlaftis is more than capable. We already talked about Chenal and Bolton at the second level. Trent McDuffie's a guy. Trent McDuffie is still probably one of the top 2 or 3 nickel corners in football. You know what I'm saying? So they got a lot of pieces on that defense as well, man. And Spags knows how to put those boys in position to win as well. He said Karlaftis been one of his faves. Yeah, he's turned up, man. He really has. I'm not a hater, man. Karlaftis is he's nice. He's solid. He's robbing. He's not in the room with the tier 1 guys. He's not in that room with Crosby and Parsons and Myles Garrett. We know those names. TJ. You know what I mean? He's not in that room yet. It's Karlaftis. He's very good. He's risen a level. He was probably tier 3 before this year. He's probably tier 3. Now he's firmly tier 2. He's at the top of tier 2. So he's progressing, but I would still say he's not on the same level with the Kings at the very top. The guys at the VIP table, there's still another level that he can reach to get in the room with those guys. Nick Bosa. You know what I mean? Like, there's still another level that he could get to before he gets in the room with those guys. But he's firmly in there with like Trey Hendrickson, right? With the Bengals. He led the league in sacks this year. He ain't tier 1, not in my book. He's still tier 2. So he's right there in the mix with him. That's not bad company. That's not bad company at all. You feel me? And so, yeah, no, he's a player though, man. He's really turned it on. He said, "What ends on with Stone Cold on top of him?" Hey, Stone Cold have his hands full today. Bringing down Big Josh ain't as easy as it should be. Said Mahomes is getting. Hey, Mahomes been. I think they be playing with false. That be false. I think those be false reports. Because every time they tell me that Patrick Mahomes tore his ankle off the bone twice, and every time he plays the next game after his ankle has been put through a meat shredder, it's like the first scramble of the game goes for 30 yards. Every time they tell me Mahomes has a bum ankle, he scrambles for 30 yards, man, without fail. So I think they be putting that out there. It'd be mind games, man. Andy know what he's doing. Andy's playing mind games with the league. They love telling us how bum Patty's ankle is. They love telling us that for Patty to go out there and run around in circles, holding the ball like a loaf of bread. Ball be out here. You know what I'm saying? And people either can't hit him or they're scared to hit him. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Now, I will tell you what I'm worried about, man. That the Ravens had success throwing the ball. Like the Bills, they are more of a zone team than a man team for sure. And that's what's most dangerous because Travis Kelce kills zones, man. He's just a zone killer. Because Travis Kelce it doesn't matter what play is called. Travis Kelce and Patty, that's the secret, that's their secret sauce. That's the mac sauce on their burger. Travis Kelce might have a 7 route called. He might have a deep over. He might have a flag. But he's gonna run to where nobody else is. So you can't defend that. You know what I mean? Like, the defense could have the right call. We could be in quarter half. We could have somebody. We could have a DN dropping underneath as well. And by the way, the play was probably actually drawn up. Yeah, they defended it. But you know what Travis did? Travis took 2 steps off the line and was like, oh, they got that one. Don't worry. I'm just go over here anyway because Patty knows I'm going over here. You know what I'm saying? That's they secret sauce. And so you can't beat that, man. And so that's what worries me. If I'm the Bills, is like not losing track of Travis Kelce in that zone. Because that's where they kill you, man. That's where they kill you. No, man, I'm talking before, but this is his 3rd year in the league. So his first 2 years being a part-time starter, splitting time as a rotational guy. What do you mean? What? Yes, tier 3. Now this year he's balled. He's played damn good as Robin. You know what I mean? He's still Robin, and now he's at the top of tier 2. Yeah. But before this year, you're gonna put him in the mix with a guy like man, come on, what y'all saying, man? I'm talking about before this year happened. Before this year happened, you would name 10 edge players before you got to Karlaftis. Before you thought of Karlaftis, you would have named 10, 12 guys that play edge before you thought of Karlaftis. You would have still named Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack if you wasn't a Chiefs fan. You know what I mean? So there's a hefty list of guys that you would have put ahead of George Karlaftis before this season started. Yeah. So tier 3. You know what I mean? Now he's above those guys. I think it's comfortable to say, he's probably above Khalil Mack. He's above Joey Bosa right now. You know what I'm saying? I think he's played damn good. You know what I mean? I think, like I said, I think he's still behind a guy like Trey Hendrickson, who's got more sack production, and he's the alpha on his own D line. You know what I mean? And he's leading the league, and he's did it more so consistently. But he's in that mix now. You know what I'm saying? Now we can talk about him now like that. I think he's probably supplanted a guy like Cam Jordan as well. Cam Jordan got old. You know what I mean? So there's some changing of the guard that's going on, and you know what I'm saying? He's been a benefit of that, and he's playing damn good. So yeah, man, y'all got to think about y'all can't go too hard now. Y'all can't go too hard on me about that. Keandre. Now this is where you go too far. Okay, all right. Now let's use this argument. Let's put Karlaftis ahead of TJ Watt. How many quarterbacks are we putting ahead of Patty Mahomes? How many quarterbacks threw more touchdowns to Patty Mahomes this year, Keandre? If that's the basis, so if George Karlaftis is now better than TJ Watt because he's got more sacks. So Jaden Daniels, there's 8 quarterbacks better than Patrick Mahomes right now. Tell me that, Keandre. Tell me right now that there's 8 quarterbacks that you feel are better than Patrick Mahomes because that's what the stats tell you. And then I'll tell you that George Karlaftis is better than TJ Watt. Go ahead and stand up in it. Go ahead and stand up in it, Keandre. Tell me right now the 8 quarterbacks better than Patrick Mahomes because they got more touchdown passes. Tell me. Keandre, tell me. Keandre, don't go quiet. Don't go quiet on me, Keandre. I want you to see my full face. I'm going to put the comments up in a minute. Keandre, tell me right now that there are 8 quarterbacks better than Patrick Mahomes because they got more touchdown passes. Tell me those 8 quarterbacks better than Patty because they've got more touchdown passes and they got less interceptions. Name those 8. You ain't got nobody. So Patrick Mahomes is still the best quarterback in the league to you, Keandre, even though somebody might have better stats than them. Is that where we at? I'm making sure we on the same page, Keandre, because you ain't want to stand up in it. See, boy, hey, you went outside, you stepped in something. Don't go back in the house with that. Wipe your feet off. Before you go back in the house. All right. Now we're going to get back to regular schedule programming. Hell no. George Karlaftis ain't TJ Watt. Boy, you crazy as hell. You crazy as hell. You crazy as hell. Ooh. Keandre, you might be on to something. I talked about Brian Schottenheimer getting hired earlier and like how, you know what I'm saying, he was just the last guy at the dance. Everybody else is gone. And the lights was finna come on. He had to get one before the lights came on, man. And so they promoted Brian Schottenheimer. But see, I don't know if that qualifies because I think you have to actually interview. So to satisfy the Rooney rule, I think you actually have to come in for an official interview or have them have some style of official interview. And so I don't think that the conversations ever got, I don't think the process ever got that far. But that's a very good comment, though. That's a very good observation for sure. Because I can't tell you who they brought in that was black or brown. No, Robert Salah. They did interview Robert Salah. And I think Robert Salah would qualify as satisfying the Rooney rule because he's a minority. He's of Arabic descent, I want to say. I don't know if it's Iranian descent or Saudi Arabian but he's of Middle Eastern descent, I should say. And so he of course qualifies as a minority, and that would satisfy the Rooney rule. So I know they did talk to Robert Salah for sure. But that's a good observation, though. That's a good observation. Now, I think it was more so like this, like my dog G3 said, man. I think it was more like this. I think it was more about, just publicity. And we talked about on the show when it first was announced as well. We can say a lot of things about Jerry Jones, We cannot question his mind for business and his mind for marketing, because that got them news in it. That got the Cowboys a little bump in the news cycle when that came out or got leaked. You know what I mean? When that got leaked, that they reached out to Prime, that got them a nice bump in the local news. You know what I'm saying? They made ESPN with that. They made NFL Network with that. So yeah, Jerry's not gonna miss opportunity, for a little free publicity, a little free marketing. So I think it was just like that as well, man. I don't think it was ever had any real legs to it. But not exactly. Nobody wanted that job. Nobody wanted that job. For sure. Hey, my dog Terrible Time that woke up this Sunday morning, man. Hey, he said Texas to the Super Bowl. Shout out to my dog Terrible Time, holding it down for them Houston Texans, letting y'all know that next year is his, man. Next year is his. Hey, I had to make sure. My dog Keandre said we got to put Carl Loftus ahead of TJ because he had better stats. He had half a sack more. Maybe. He had maybe half a sack more. Maybe they had the same amount of sacks. No, I think they both had 11 sacks. You gonna tell me now we gotta put Loftus above TJ? I was trying to, if that's the basis, I was gonna say it's gotta go all the way around the board. It can't just be for Carl Loftus to get that special type of consideration. Man, what you talking about? Not a fair comparison? You don't think the defensive line needs the secondary? You don't think the defensive line needs the secondary to cover so they can have time to get home? Boy, now you're talking crazy. Now you're talking crazy now. Now you're talking crazy. See, now Tom in here talking crazy. Tom in there wilding. Now, you know I love Mr. J.J. Watt. They different animals, though. They different animals. J.J. was a big-ass five technique that, you know what I'm saying, he played on the edge as well, but he was a 6'6", 6'5", 300 pounds, and he played from 5 to 7. TJ's a pure edge. He's a 9 tech. He's a 9 tech through and through. So they different animals. You know what I mean? They different animals. Hey, man, look, Keandre said he agreed to Texas going to the Super Bowl. Hey, Keandre said he do market for hey, he should be. If Jerry Jones can't do nothing, Jerry Jones have sold the Cowboys fans on the same dream for 30 years, and they still lined up around the block. Jerry Jones and these Cowboys been selling the same dream for 30 years, and those tickets are still lined up, and they still lined up around the block. They still the most valuable organization in the league by a fair margin, and they ain't been doing it but selling dreams for 30 years. So hell yeah. If Jerry can't do nothing else, Jerry can sell. Salt to a snail, water to a well, sell fire in hell. That's Jerry Jones. For sure. For sure. My dog Keandre says, hey, they sell Super Bowl tickets. Texas probably got it. Hey, they got a hell of a deal. Hey, they was part of the journey. They was definitely part of the journey. They was definitely part of the journey for y'all for sure. Matter of fact, I know my dog Miles gave me a score prediction. Did anybody give me a score prediction on this Kansas City Buffalo game before we close it out? Let me go back through my chat, make sure I ain't missed nobody if somebody had a projection for me. Let me make sure. Now here's a question. Here's a question for you Chiefs fans, because let's talk objectively for a second. There's only 2 games. We ain't got nothing else to talk about. We can talk a little ball for a little bit. We got a little time. If you were ranking quarterbacks this year, this season, where does Patty land for y'all? Objectively, where does Patty land if you had to rank out quarterbacks this season alone? We're not talking legacy. We're not talking the last 5 years. We're not talking accolades. We're not talking postseason team success. If we look at the play individually of all 32 starting quarterbacks across the league, where do you have Patrick Mahomes? That's what I want to know. Hey, G3 said G3 said he wasn't playing, man. 69-0. Hey, man, hey. Boy, that humble pie gonna be a little bitter for you, big dog. That humble pie gonna choke you right on up. My dog Calvo in the building, man. Hey, he said 28-24 Buffalo. You know what? I think I might have had the same score. No, my score was close. I got a 4-point margin of victory. I got 24-20 is where I went. I went 24-20 Buffalo. But no, I can see that as well. 28-24. 28-24. Said 15-2 at the 1 seed. Yeah, shout out to Spags and that defense. And the special teams. Shout out to all that. He said, I hate when you do this. No, hey, blame your Chiefs brethren. Keandre brought this on. Keandre brought this on. This Keandre fault. Keandre said he lands in the top 3 for me. He said, who would you rather have with 2 minutes left, down 4? See, no, don't get specific. Don't get in the weeds. Don't get specific. Because if it's 30 seconds left in the game and somebody's got to make a shot, I still want Kobe. But that ain't what I'm asking you. That's not what I'm asking you. He said what he's doing with that O-line out of argue number 1. He's got 3 all-pros on that O-line, G3. He's got 3 all-pros on that offensive line. He's got the best center in football, the best guard in football, and he's got a top 3 other guard in football. He's got 3 all-pros on that offensive line. So what are y'all saying? What are y'all complaining about, man? Yeah, the tackles were shitty. I'll give you that. The tackles were shitty. He had 3 all-pros on that line. Tooney, Humphrey, and Trey Smith. From left to right, in the middle of an offensive line, there is no better 3 in the league. So what are we saying, man? He had 3 all-pros on that line. You think that line was worse than the Texans line? You think the Chiefs offensive line was worse than the Texans offensive line? The Steelers offensive line? Bruh, that Chiefs offensive line is still a top 10 offensive line just on the strength of those 3 guys. That's a top 3 offensive line. My dog Kelvin says 6 behind Allen, Burrow, Darnold, Lamar, and Daniels. I think 6 at the earliest. I think his conversation starts at 6. I agree. Not top 5. Lamar, Josh, Burrow, Jaden Daniels. I'm not mad at Sam Darnold either. Honestly, I think Baker Mayfield was better this year. I think by and large, Jared Goff was better this year. Jared Goff had an ugly playoff loss for sure. He had one ugly game in Houston where he threw a ton of interceptions. Now, 3 of those interceptions were whatever. One of them was a Hail Mary at the end of halftime. 2 more went off somebody's fingertips, but he still threw 5 picks in the game. They ended up winning anyway. I would still say top to bottom, Jared Goff had a better year. So for me, realistically, that conversation, the 6 at the highest. 6 at the highest. It said lost their entire receiving core. Shit, no, you didn't. Who'd you lose? You lost Rashee Rice. You drafted Xavier Worthy. And then Hollywood Brown was injured to start the year, but you didn't have him before he got there. So he wasn't necessarily lost. You never had him. And then he showed up. My dog said shout to his dog Bowser, man. Hey, me and Bowser was talking ball last week, man. Me and Bowser probably talked good. We talked some ball for about a good hour, man. I had to drive out to Dave old country ass house. You know, Dave live a country mile outside of civilization. And so shit, Bowser kept me busy on the highway, boy. I had a long ass drive out to Dave's house. Hey. Yeah, we know the tackles are soft, but the tackles there's two sorry ass tackles. I'll give you that. 2 sorry ass tackles. But when you got 3 all pros across the middle, boy, you doing better than most half the league. You're doing better than half the league with those 3 guys, period. Those 3 guys keep you on the top half of the league as far as offensive line goes. 3 all pros right there across the middle. So it can't be like, no matter how bad those individual tackles are, it's not as bad as y'all would have us believe because you got 3 all pros right there up front. Let me see. Miles said he's got Patty 5. Hey, Darnold turned into a pumpkin as well, man. Darnold definitely went full-fledged pumpkin. He was definitely the Cinderella this year. He was barefoot washing dishes. Somebody put some glass slippers on him. He turned into a princess. And then he went right back into a pumpkin the last 2 games of the season at the worst possible time, bro. It struck midnight on Sam Darnold for sure. Definitely. Look at the stats. I know the stats. Patrick Mahomes led the league in interceptions for the first 12 weeks of the year. I know the stats. We beat. I like what you said there. We beat everyone on that list. We already shouted out Spags in that defense. We already shouted out their special teams. We can do a lot. Trent Dilfer gets to say that we won a Super Bowl. Doesn't have nothing to do with when we talk about Trent Dilfer. Trent Dilfer was a Super Bowl champion as well. Now, where did he rank as far as quarterbacks go that year the 2000 Ravens won the Super Bowl? So that's 2 different conversations. That's 2 different conversations. Bowser said, "What's going on with you, big dog?" Hey, time, man. Me and Bowser was talking. It ain't no reason that we don't all get together for a game, man. Between Houston and Dallas, ain't no reason at least once a year that we don't all get together, man, to catch a game, man, between somebody's team. Because, you know what I'm saying, my dog Bowser, he's a Commanders fan. Hey, matter of fact, Bowser, man, give me a prediction on that Commanders and Philly game. I'm pulling for the Commanders. I'm pulling for Jaden Daniels, but if I had to bet my mama's rent money, I had to bet on the Eagles. So I had to bet on if I had to put money on the table, I had to bet on the Eagles, but I'm pulling for the Commanders, though. I'm talking out both sides of my mouth. I know I am. He said sacked 36 times. That's not the most in the league. That's not the most in the league. How many guys have sacked more than him? Yeah. Yeah, Juju and Hopkins. He said Dorman for tackles, no matter who gets like somebody getting through. Still 114. Hey, Miles, man, pull your panties up, man. You a big boy. You can handle it. You can take it. You can take it. He said 31-28 on a last-second field goal. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. Hey, that'd be a hell of a game, man. I hope y'all do it, man. I want to see Jaden get to the dance, man. I want to see Jaden get to the dance. 31-28. A lot of points. Okay. Yeah, I think I went Philly 27-23. I went because in the 5 games that Jalen Hurts played against the Commanders, they were dominant. Like for 5 quarters when Jalen Hurts was on the field, they were dominant. Now Jalen Hurts he's hobbled and like he was beat up pretty good and he was very gimpy in that game against the Rams. And so just how healthy he is maybe is going to be crucial in this one as well. But in the 5 quarters where I've seen the Eagles play football with Jalen Hurts at quarterback against the Commanders, they dominated. In the 3 quarters that he didn't play, Commanders came back and won that game, even with Saquon going for 100 yards in the first quarter. And so if Jalen Hurts is the difference in those 2 outcomes, well, he's playing this game and he's at home in the playoffs. You know what I mean? And so now the good thing about the Commanders is we have seen that like the pressure don't phase them. You know what I mean? And I think me and Bowser, I think we talked about it, bro. Like they don't know they ain't supposed to be here. And so they went to Tampa Bay, found a way to get that dub. They went to Detroit, got that dub. So they shout out to Dan Campbell, or excuse me, shout out to Dan Quinn, shout out to Jaden Daniels, and shout out to that team as well, man, because they've been smiling in the face of danger this whole playoffs, man, and they ain't did nothing but win games and keep moving forward. So the moment, I don't anticipate the moment's going to be too big, and it is a familiar opponent, which also helps, which also can help and hurt, because the Buccaneers and the Lions, they didn't get a look at Jaden Daniels before, so they didn't know what they was dealing with. So the Eagles have seen him twice, and so there's benefits and there's plus and minuses to that familiarity for both those sides. But when I look at it, it's like, hey man, 5 quarters with Jaden Daniels, they smack them. 3 quarters without Jaden Daniels, they came all the way back for 2 touchdowns and 1. Even with Saquon having 100 yards in the first quarter. Saquon had 110 yards in the first quarter of that game with Jaden Daniels. He finished that game, he didn't have 150 yards. He finished that game with less than 150. 3 additional quarters of gameplay. He had 110 in the first quarter. He didn't touch 150 for the game. So Jalen Hurts being in that game, at least how that game played out the second go around when Washington came back and won, is critical. It's definitely critical. Now, another part of that as well is that Jaden does have to be healthy enough to give some style of threat with his legs, but yeah, we'll see. My dog Keandre said, oh, hold on, my fault, I missed the first one. He said his head says Philly, but he wants to see Jaden play the Chiefs. It makes the game history no matter who wins. And see, I feel the same way. Like, my head says Philly, so that's where I went with my score. But I'm pulling for Jaden Daniels in the Commanders. I agree with Keandre, man. That's the same way I got it. And he said he's pulling for Washington 21-17. That's pretty low scoring, man. Washington's defense, I don't know about Washington's defense holding the Eagles to 17 points at home. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know about the defense holding the score like that. I think if Washington wins, I do think it's a higher scoring game, like my dog Bowser said. I think Bowser had 31-28. So if Washington wins, I do think they win some style of shootout in that fashion. But if the defenses are gonna be like have more impact on the game, then I'm definitely leaning Eagles there. And that's kind of where I settled in. And I think my score was, I think it was 28-24 Philly, I believe is what I had. But yeah, now if Washington's defense holds that Eagles team to 17 in an NFC championship game on the road, then boy, hey, they played their ass off. Then they played their ass off. G3 said he agreed with Keandre, man. I think he's pulling for Washington as well. He said in that first game they convert that 4th and 3. It's a different game. I mean, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful in that if game. But no, it's true. It's true, especially when like, and that's what's so crazy and what's so like one of the things that is great about football is like the trajectory of the game can be shifted like so drastically by like these it's like individual plays, calls by the ref, bad calls or calls that were made or shouldn't been made or get called or don't get called. Like these things really do like shift the trajectory of the games, man. Just momentum's real in football for sure. Momentum's definitely real, man. G3 said he's got, oh, okay, see, this is what I can see. If Washington wins this game, I definitely think there's a lot of points scored. Similar to that Lions game. You know what I'm saying? So 42-35 Washington. Yeah, I think if Washington wins this game, I do think it's a high-scoring game. I do think they just have to win the shootout. And I think if they get it into a shootout, that does bode well for Washington because that means that Jalen may have to, the Eagles offense may have to lean more on Jalen, they may have to lean more on Jalen passing the ball than they want to. And if that's the case, then I definitely give the edge to Jaden Daniels in that passing offense versus the passing offense that we've seen with Jalen Hurts. And especially with A.J. Brown. First he was pouting. Then he read his book. Then he came out against the Rams and laid an egg. So, I don't know. A.J. Brown got something on his mind today, too. And so, this is a good matchup. Ooh. See, now that we're talking about it, this may be a good matchup for that passing game to get back on track because Washington's secondary has been a soft spot for that defense for the most part is the secondary. And so, Marshawn Lattimore, he's been injured all year. He still hasn't looked like himself. He don't want no smoke with A.J. Brown. You know what I mean? And so, and then the other guys or a collection of guys. And so, I don't know. Yeah, there might be some more points in this game than I gave it credit. What was my score? I got to check my score again. Okay, I had it 27-23, which is decent. I'm almost thinking, man, maybe, well, see, I still like Philly's defense in they matchups against his Commanders team, though. So I still like how the Eagles defense matches up. I like that defense because they've got a defensive line that can get home with 4. And Vic Fangio, they're not a big passing team they're not a big blitzing team anyway. And they're a heavy zone team. And so he likes a lot of cloud coverages. So they want to keep the roof on. You know what I mean? They want to keep the ceiling on the field. So they want to limit your explosive plays. And they want to force you, like Vic Fangio's defensive goal is he wants to force you into 10, 12, 15 play drives, like make you earn it down the field, not let you have those big shot plays that flip the field on one play. So they play a lot of cloud and they play a lot of zone, which means there's a lot of guys are going to have their eyes on Jaden Daniels. And so like, it's not as many opportunities to gash that defense for big runs because they're not an overly man-based team anyway. You know what I mean? And they can get home before. Jalen Carter's going to give hell to the interior of that Commanders offensive line. He going to have his way. And Nolan Smith off the edge as well. I like him against either of them tackles, Sam Cosmi and Buddy. So I really like the defensive matchups for the Eagles, man. I really do like those defensive matchups for the Eagles. Now, if Jaden is able to pick apart that zone, and Terry's gonna have to have a day. De'Ami Brown, I was talking about De'Ami Brown with my dog Bowser last week. He's really came on the last month of the season. He's had a pretty good first 2 playoff games as well. He's going to have a big day today as well. Does he, then Darius Slay, those legs getting a little older. He can still run, and he can still get his hand on the footballer too, but can De'Ami Brown, stack Slay and get one over the top? Because Quinyon Mitchell going to give Scary Terry everything he wants. Honestly, and I love me some Scary Terry. Quinyon Mitchell got it, bro. I really like what I see for Quinyon Mitchell. Quinyon Mitchell gonna give Scary Terry everything he wants today, man. If I had to bet on it. And then Cooper DeJean floating in the slot as well. Hey, man. I think these matchups really favor the Eagles, dog. The more I'm talking about it now, I really think the defensive matchups really favor those Eagles. As far as the defensive matchup with the Commanders' offense, bro. Bowser, you might not like that, bro. You might not want to hear that. But hey, man, I think Quinyon Mitchell gonna give Scary Terry everything he wants today. And like I said, I think Slay's gonna be on top of De'Ami Brown because he's that deep ball threat anyway. You know what I'm saying? So he's not really gonna work like intermediate or the shallow parts of the field. Like he's the shot guy more or less. And so I think Slay will probably see him more times than not. And so hey, man. And Jalen Carter with that offensive line up there, hey man, hey, yeah, I didn't reaffirm myself, man. I definitely think I like the matchups better for the Eagles in this one, man. I can't lie. Hey man, what y'all already see? Look, y'all in the back corner somewhere hating. He called big. I call big because he's big. But when you 6'5", 250, should I call him Lil Josh? He's 6'5", 250. Big Ben was Big Ben when he first stepped on the field because he was 6'5", 240. He was Big Ben. Big Josh, he's 6'5", 250. What should I call him? What should I call him? Come on, man. If he was 6'1", 205, man, he might not be Big Josh. I might call him something else. Karen said, G3 said, wait till they win the Super Bowls and we're not the faves next year. Yet still, remember the Niners were the Super Bowl faves in Vegas before the season. Going into this year, I don't know how Vegas had it rated. They may have though. The Niners season almost ended before it got started. Saquon 2 touchdowns came after that failed conversion. Let me see. I gotta try to remember now. Up 13-12 on our side of the 50 in that first game. I do remember y'all felt that. I do remember y'all didn't get that 2-pointer. Now you're not a champ to your champ. I ain't gonna call him no champion. He's a stud though. Said the Niners were for sure. I don't doubt it because especially if they were anticipated to be healthy and so if they're running that team back healthy Christian McCaffrey. Now with throughout the Niners offseason, like their season was almost over before it started. Trent Williams held out for a new deal. Brandon Ayuk was holding out for the new deal. C-Mac goes to Germany to try to meet with Kobe's doctors to figure out something with his legs. Excuse me. He's out for the whole year. Debo and Kittle both miss a lot of time to start the year. I think in the first 8 games between Debo and Kittle, they each missed like 4 or 5 games, like between the two of them. And so that defense took some lumps. You know, or that team just took some lumps, man. They season was almost over just as soon as it started. So, but if you're saying that Vegas had the Niners on paper to start the season as a Super Bowl favorite, I can believe that. I don't doubt it. I can believe that. But yeah. Let me see, man. What I missed? Did I put that score up? I think I did have that score up. I think I did have that score up. Yeah, 42-35. If the Commanders win, like I was saying, if the Commanders win, I definitely do think it will be more of a shootout, like G3 saying. But yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Talking through those matchups, I like that Eagles defense, man, and what they got as far as the matchup goes with the Commanders. Yeah, yeah. And then I'm looking on the other side, like AJ Brown is due to get out of his funk, and I think this might be the matchup in which he does it. I don't know what Keandre say. Hey, come on, man. Hey, Patty was a superstar before he won the Super Bowl. Come on, man. What are we talking about? Patty was a superstar before he won the big one. When Patty lost that AFC Championship game when D4 lined up in the neutral zone against Tom Brady and the Bucks, when D4 was in the neutral zone and Patty lost, they went home that year, right? Y'all went home that year. We still respected Patty was still a superstar. He hadn't won nothing, but he was still a superstar. D4 is in the neutral zone, and you know what I'm saying? Tom Brady goes on and wins that game and goes to the Super Bowl. So Patty got his due. Patty got his due when he put on the field between white lines, man. Before he won his first Super Bowl, he was a superstar. Come on, man. Y'all gotta chill. Y'all gotta chill. Y'all gotta chill. I ain't gonna lie, man. I don't know, man. I think it's gonna be a good ass game. I do think it's probably that Chiefs game. Talking about that Chiefs game again. I do think it's gonna be more of a defensive game. So that's why I did go like a relatively lower scoring game, 24-20. I think the Chiefs defense is definitely stingy. Like I said, they've got very solid guys at all three levels, and so I do think, like I said, this is gonna be a tough grinded out game, man. And I think that Bills defense is not as talented as that Chiefs defense for sure, but they just play solid, sound like team defense. They don't have any one guy that scares you. Like on the Chiefs, they've got a scare. Chris Jones is scary. You don't know where he's gonna line up. He'll line up from one technique to 9 technique on any given play. And he's just got free reign to line. When they break the huddle, regardless of the call, Chris Jones can line up anywhere from 1 tech to 9 technique. Like he's scary. You know what I mean? But so the Bills don't have anybody like that. They've got just a solid collection of guys. They play good, sound football together. And that's kind of the hallmark of a Sean McDermott defense anyway. Sean McDermott spent a lot of time in Philadelphia underneath. Here's an old name for y'all. Y'all might not even remember, man. Jimmy Johnson. Not Jimmy Johnson from the Cowboys, but Jimmy Johnson was a long-time defensive coordinator for the Eagles. So Sean McDermott came up under him. Then he took over that Eagles defense for Andy for a lot of those years. And that was kind of the hallmark of their defense, man. Just sound, fundamental football. Like I said, they had B Doc at that time, but it wasn't really like based around it didn't really have like one star guy, one star monster that you got to kind of build around. And that's still how this Bills defense is built as well. But they do play solid and play good together. And they'll capitalize if you give them a mistake, they can capitalize. Like we saw with the Ravens game. Lamar and Rashad Bateman are not on the same page on a route conversion. Lamar throws the go ball. Bateman breaks it off to a flag, and that's an interception for Tyler Rapp. You know what I'm saying? Like they get a high snap, and DeMar Hamlin's blitzing, and he makes a fantastic open field tackle on Lamar Jackson, forces a fumble. You know what I mean? So like they've got a collection of just solid players and solid guys that play very sound defensive football, and they make plays when they get the opportunity to. So now the good thing, the thing about it is that we've talked about this Chiefs team. They're not an explosive offensive team, and so it has given us what we've seen all year, man. A lot of kind of hard fought, close games for the most part, and then Patty rising above and being a star in the most critical moments, and that's been the recipe for success all year long. Grit. That's what we're talking about. No, that's a good word for this Chiefs team. It's a gritty team. I agree with that. That's a damn good word or adjective to use for these Chiefs. They're a gritty team for sure. They're a gritty team for sure. And that's all I've been saying. Like, we talk, like, the thing about this iteration of the Chiefs is, and my dog Keanu, he's heard me say this before. The Chiefs, y'all no longer the Showtime Lakers. That's all I'm saying. Like, y'all be wanting to talk to me like y'all the Showtime Lakers. Y'all not Lob City. You know what I'm saying? Patty's not throwing half-court alley-oops to Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan no more. Those days is gone. Now y'all Tim Duncan's big fundamental. Y'all a gritty defensive football team. And y'all got a magic man in Patty that there's one, two, or three plays every game in the most critical situation. And that's the magic of Patrick Mahomes. He makes magic. He makes it happen in those moments. He rises and steps up in those biggest, heaviest moments. He makes plays. That's why he's a guy. That's why he's a dude. He's tier one. I've never said he's not tier one. Never, nothing. He's a dude. He's a guy. But it's not the Showtime Lakers. It's not Magic throwing no-look passes to Kareem in the post. It's not Chris Paul in Lob City. It's not Steph Curry in the Magic Warriors. They're not pulling up from half court no more, letting them go, turning around before they go in. That's not who they are no more. This is a gritty defensive football team. Oh, you was talking to somebody. Grit on the gridiron. What's going on with you, bro? Commanders versus Chiefs. Rookie takes down the best. Hey! Commanders, Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and you got the rookie getting it done? Hey, that's a hell of a prediction now. That's a hell of a prediction. Grit on gridiron, man. Where you from? I assume you from Kansas City. Because Kansas City is, you know what I'm saying, the only place I know to really say like grit or gritters, that type of lingo. So I would assume you from Kansas City. But let me know, man, where you from and who's your team? He said, yeah, y'all not Lob City. It's the 98 Bulls. Ooh. I'm not mad at that either. Because MJ wasn't dunking from the free throw line in 98. He was backing your ass down from 17 feet, putting his tongue out and putting them in off the glass. So I'm not mad at that either. I'm not mad at that either. Patty's definitely Jordan. He's NFL Jordan. See, I'm not mad at that. See this? See, now I can agree. See, now we talking the same language. Y'all be trying to talk to me like Patty's still 93 Jordan. Like he's still dunking from the three-point line. Not even the free throw. Like he's still dunking from the three-point line. Like, no. This ain't 91, 92, 93, 94 Jordan. But you tell me this is 98 Jordan. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Okay, from Wisconsin. Okay, he's a Packer fan first, NFL fan second. Hey, I feel that. And you know what, man? Hey, I love Mr. Jordan Love, man. I love Mr. Jordan Love. He still got a little wild man in him. You know what I mean? But y'all keep on reining them in just a little bit. And then y'all got that's the youngest, most explosive team in the league when they firing on all cylinders for sure. Christian Watson can't stay on the field. Jaden Reed is nice. Dobbs is hit or miss. I'm not as big on Dobbs. I really like Jaden Reed and Christian Watson, excuse me, when he's healthy and when he's catching the ball because his hands are a little inconsistent as well. But no, that's a scary team. I love what y'all got from Josh Jacobs this year. Josh Jacobs went out there and played his ass off. If it wasn't for Saquon and Derrick Henry just going absolutely crazy, and both of them damn near getting 2K. Well, Saquon got 2K. Josh Jacobs had an all-pro caliber year. Like Josh Jacobs in any other year is probably an all-pro this year. So he played his ass off. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I like what the Packers got going, man. I like what the Packers got going. Hey, matter of fact, hey, yeah, I don't know if I seen you here before, man, but hey, welcome. You know what I'm saying? Go hit that like and subscribe button for me, big dog. You one of them members now, bro. You one of them members now, big dog. Grit said he want Christian McCaffrey, 2 number 1 running backs, and make Love more of a game manager. Man, nah, y'all ain't got room, man. I don't want to take Josh Jacobs out that lineup. Why you need McCaffrey? What? Josh Jacobs is giving y'all everything y'all need, man. Josh Jacobs is giving y'all everything y'all need. Y'all can make Love more of a manager and still feed Josh Jacobs the ball like he's getting it. And also, I think Christian McCaffrey, I love me some C-Mac now. Oh, my fault, microphone. I love me some C-Mac. C-Mac was my favorite back in the league for probably 5 years or so. You know what I mean? I was calling him the best in the business. My new favorite back in the league is Jahmyr Gibbs. And honestly, Jahmyr Gibbs to me is a faster, more explosive Christian McCaffrey. I think he's got the same skill set, except he's faster, more explosive. I love me some Jahmyr Gibbs, my favorite back in the league right now. But like Josh Jacobs, you can pound Josh Jacobs into an 8-man box and he still may thug out 4 yards for you. He still may bang out 4 yards for you in an 8-man box. You know what I'm saying? When it gets ugly, when it gets tight, and especially playing in Green Bay in those elements, y'all gotta play. Y'all play in Chicago in the elements. You know what I mean? The field is frozen. You know what I mean? And so the second half of the year, I would appreciate having the size and the power that you get from Josh Jacobs. It means more than if you got Christian McCaffrey back there, like when it's time for December in playoff football, especially in Green Bay and in that division. So I prefer I like what I got going with Josh Jacobs. Now I love me some Christian McCaffrey though, and I hope he's able to come back healthy, man. So hopefully he bounces back. Hey, that's a good question. Favre Rodgers. Man, I was a big Favre guy, man. Before I found out he was stealing money from the poor people in Mississippi. Before that, man, but I was a huge Favre fan, man, for sure. I definitely was. And I'm still a fan of his game. I'm not gonna lie and say I didn't appreciate watching him, especially watching him growing up. I loved he played, and man, he's not worried about stats. He's not worried about making it look pretty. Like, bro, look, I got a gun and I'm here to fire. You know what I mean? Like, I got a gun and I'm letting it off. You know what I mean? And so Favre out there, like, man, yeah, I really liked Favre. I really liked Favre growing up. I did, man. I did. And no, here's the thing. He's a mix of both. He's like they had Favre, wild gunslinger, absolute cannon, and then you had Rodgers who had the same arm talent, but much more, like much safer with the ball. And so you were able to get the explosive arm talent of Brett Favre, but they found a way to harness it in a way that's like not as turnover, there's much less turnover adverse in Rodgers. And then Love is like a combination of those two. And so I think right now he's probably 55-45 Favre to Rodgers, but that's an improvement because last year he was probably 70-30 Favre to Rodgers. And so he's improving. So shout out to Matt LaFleur. My dog Chop was a big Matt LaFleur fan as far as his coaching goes. And I think that's a credit to Matt LaFleur, who's been able to like rein in Jordan Love, like rein in that wild man and like starting to harness that cannon because he's got a cannon now. Jordan Love has a special arm, man. Like he threads real needles, man. When guys say, man, he threaded the needle there, nah, man, no. Jordan Love threads real needles. He throws laser beams, man. So I love Mr. Jordan Love. And if he makes the same jump that we've seen year over year, these last 2 years with LaFleur, so if he maintains this jump next year, then shit, hey, man, y'all got something going. Y'all cooking with grease. Hey, exactly. Now don't disrespect my dog C-Mac now. Don't be disrespectful. C-Mac is still the guy. He's a guy. But yeah, I like Jahmyr, man. He's got that skill set, and but he's more explosive. He's more explosive. My dog G3, yeah, he said he was a Favre fan as well growing up. Yeah, man. I still remember that game when his pops died. And they played, I think they played. Was he with the Vikings? I think he was with the Vikings already. Was that game against Green Bay? I think they were at home. Was that game against Green Bay when his dad died? And then he went out and played that Monday night, threw like 4 touchdowns. I still remember the one he threw a 60. This is probably this should be a top 5 individual pass in the history of football. Brett Favre, y'all got to do your Googles. Get on YouTube and do your Googles. Brett Favre, that Monday night game after his daddy died. I think his daddy died the day before. He went out there and played Monday night for the Vikings. He threw a 60-yard rope to the back line of the end zone. I want to say it was Bertrand Berrien that caught it. And I think that was the game-winning touchdown. It might have been to win the game. I'm pretty sure that was the game after his daddy died. But this is a top 5 individual throw we've ever seen in football. And this is old Brett. Brett was like 38. You know what I mean? We forget just how special Brett Favre's arm was, dog. When I tell you 60 yards, and it was probably, and that ball was humming. They probably heard it coming. They probably heard that ball whistling in the air. Steam. Steam came off that ball, 60 yards. He was booting out. He had got out of a sack. He's booting and throws a 60-yard laser beam to the back end zone line to Bertrand Berrien, I think is the receiver's name for the Vikings that caught that touchdown. It's a top 5 throw that's ever been made in football. Y'all go ahead and do your Googles, man. That one's for free. Y'all can YouTube that one for free and let me know. Grit said if we could get an old vet for a middle linebacker, make him the green dot. You don't like Adrian Cooper? Adrian Cooper, the rookie linebacker y'all had? Well, he played his ass off, especially the second half of the season. I think from Texas A&M, and he played better. Like when he was at Texas A&M, like he was an athlete. He was lost in pass coverage. They used him as a spy more than anything because he just was useless in pass coverage in his Texas A&M tape. I didn't like him in pass coverage, but he could fly. He was a missile. But nah, bruh, his pass coverage was better. Bruh, he's a stud. He's a stud, man. I can't. You want to give up on Adrian Cooper already? I think his name's Adrian Cooper. Y'all middle linebacker, the rookie. I want to say, is it Adrian Cooper? Maybe I'm saying his name wrong. But no, he's nice, especially the second half of the season for sure. The young linebacker y'all drafted 2 years before that out of Georgia, not Trey Walker. Y'all got that tall, kind of skinny linebacker out of Georgia 2 years before y'all drafted Adrian Cooper. And I think y'all reached, that felt a little bit like a reach. I didn't necessarily like him, but Adrian Cooper, he showed me something this year, bro. I wouldn't give up on him just yet, dog. I wouldn't give up on him just yet. Hey, I feel you, dog. Hey, I feel you. That's how I be feeling as well, man. There's a lot of stuff we can say about R. Kelly. There's a lot of stuff we can say about Brett Favre. There's a lot of stuff we can say about some of these guys. But look, man, you asked me about his music. He's a GOAT. You asked me about Brett Favre on the field slinging it. One of the GOATs, man. Now everything else that ain't my business. On this podcast, we talk football, so I'm gonna keep it 55th Street. I'm just gonna talk ball on here. And we talking ball, man. Brett was one of those guys, man. I really enjoyed watching him. Okay, it was the Raiders. You know the game we're talking about. Okay, it was the Raiders. He had a big game. He had a big game against the Packers as well. Maybe not the game his daddy died. He had a big game. Maybe it was his first game back against the Packers. He also went off when he was with the Vikings. But yeah, I think you are right. The Raiders. Okay, yeah. If you know the play, I'm talking about, bro. That's a top 5 throw in the history of professional football. Brett was damn near 40 years old. That pass had to at least be 60 yards in the air, dog. It was at least 60 in the air. On a line, though. Not like Aaron Rodgers, like he'll throw it 70 yards like a rainbow shot. It'll drop out the sky like a raindrop. Brett Favre will throw 70 yards on a laser, on a frozen rope. When they say frozen rope, they talking about Brett Favre, bro. 60 yards and the ball may not be no higher than 7 feet off the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like laser beam. 70 yards. It's one thing to do a 70 and it touches the moon and come back down. Aaron Rodgers is great at that. Russell Wilson is phenomenal at that. Russell Wilson built his career off doing that. 60-yard raindrops. You know what I mean? 60-yard passes that follow a rainbow and drop in the bucket. That's still a talent as well. He still got to have a big arm to do that. I'm talking about 60 yards, helmet level. Bertrand Berrien or whatever, he caught that pass on his face mask from 60 yards away. He caught the pass here on his face mask on the back end zone line from 60 plus. Y'all got to hear what I'm saying, dog. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, man. It's a top 5 pass in NFL history, dog. I'm convinced. I thought he was with the Vikings when that happened. When his daddy died, he went with the Vikings. Okay, if that's still the Packers, then he had a big game with the Vikings as well, where he also, in my mind, when I memorized that play, I thought it was Bernard Berrien or something like that, whatever that dude's name for the Vikings. Or maybe it wasn't the game his daddy died then. He also had a big game today his daddy died. I remember I think he threw 4 touchdowns today his daddy died. But whatever game this was, I'm like 98% sure it was for the Vikings for sure. And I thought it was some type of big moment. I thought it was the game his daddy died, but maybe not. But this pass, he was on the Vikings, and I want to say it's Bernard Berrien is the dude's name because it's a top 5 throw in NFL history. I'm going to have to look it up for y'all. I'm telling you. Oh, okay, so you do like, I was about to say, yeah, hey, Andrew Cooper showed me something, man. He did. Yeah, he showed me some, especially like that last half of the season for sure. And I want to say, what game was that? He got an interception. He got either like a game sealing interception or a game changing interception toward the end of the year in a big game for y'all. Who was that against? I'm trying to think. But yeah, now he played good. Hey, there we go, man. Hey, we 12 for 12. Shout out to my dog Keandre, man. We 12 for 12. That's what we like to see, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button and subscribe for your dog, man. Hey, somebody welcome Gridiron to the family, man. He one of them members now, man. Shout out to Gridiron, man. He one of them members now, big dog. Hey, right on time, man. Hey, I appreciate you, bro. He said he subbed. I appreciate you. Hey, you have a good one, big dog. We'll see you. Yeah, man. Hey, Wednesdays and Sundays, man, we get busy, man. Wednesdays at 7 and Thursdays at 10 o'clock. And matter of fact, yeah, it's about 12 o'clock anyway. Yes, we right on time, man. It's about that time to wind it on down anyway. For sure. But before we get out of here, y'all know what time it is. It's time for that real member roll call, man. First off, shout out to my dog Keandre, man. That's the captain of the ship, man. Y'all say what's up to my dog Keandre. Keeping us online, man. Keandre, make sure the comments up. He make sure everybody hit that like button. You know what I'm saying? Keandre be holding everybody accountable, man. So I appreciate my dog. Shout out to Grid on Gridiron, man. You one of them members now, big dog. We appreciate you coming through for sure. Hey, G3 in the building, man. Another one of them members, big dog. Salute to my dog G3 in the building. Chiefs fan from Pennsylvania. I got you, big dog. Appreciate you. Man, who else is in this thing, man? My dog Kelvo was in the building for sure. Shout out to my dog Bowser, holding it down for his watching the Commanders. I know he's going to be tuned in today. My dog Miles in the building as well. You know what I mean? He, one of KC's finest, holding it down for those Chiefs as well. Appreciate you, my dog. Who else in this thing, man? I know, hold on, I'm missing some of y'all. I'm looking for you. Oh, here we go. My dog, Terrible Time Walker, holding it down for them Houston Texans. He definitely was in the building as well. Appreciate my dog. Let me see, man. I'm looking for y'all. I know I'm missing somebody. I found you. There we go. Little sisters in the building as well. Appreciate you. My dog, AJ Pep, came through and said what's up to the folks as well. Appreciate your homeboy. And then, of course, Mom Dukes is in the building. And just like that, I think we out of there. We say the same thing every week. Feel free to say it with me at home. If I forgot to say your name, damn. Hey, my bad. But charge it to my head and don't charge it to my heart. You know we thinking about you, big dog. Appreciate all the love support as always. Man, hey, man, I love it, man. Hey, love getting in here talking ball, man. We had a good conversation. And you know, we get a little spicy, man, but it's all in good fun, man. It's all in good fun. So tune in, man. Y'all have fun. Y'all be safe. Enjoy your football Sunday. Until Wednesday. Wednesday, we're going to talk business now. Wednesday, we'll know who's going to the dance, and we'll be sure to tap in and break down these today's games and have a little fun as we talk about the Super Bowl. But until then, Wednesday, 7 o'clock, y'all have fun. Enjoy y'all Sunday. Peace.